Rather than trying to teach you how to be a lighthouse of love, I thought I would show you. You're about to see a segment from our podcast, The Parent Coaching Show, where our Director of Education and Coaching, Rebecca Liddon, coaches Destiny Davis. Now, you may know Destiny from Instagram. She is one of the most beloved influencers in the space, and I'm proud to say she's a graduate of the Jai Institute for Parenting. But what I love about what you're about to see is it is a beautiful representation and demonstration of what it looks like as parenting coaches to hold that energy and framework of bringing love and compassion and appreciation to every interaction that we have. I believe that collectively, we have about 2,000 current students and alumni here at the Jai Institute for Parenting. And I think each of us is connected in this way, where when we go out into the world and we have a frame of exuding love, exuding compassion, exuding empathy, and exuding what I would call conscientious leadership, that the ripple effects of that can impact so many more million lives than any one of us could do by themselves. You know, here at Jai, we obviously train parenting coaches, but what I really believe that we do, and I get this is from my frame as the founder and CEO, is we are training an army of peacemakers and change makers who not only want the world to be a better and different place, but have the tools to make it so. Enjoy this beautiful conversation between Destiny and Rebecca. It's a great representation of what parent coaching is, and I just know you're going to get so much from it.
Hello, Destiny. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So I'm curious what it is that I can support you with today in your mama practice.
Yes. So I am at this point with my sibling rivalry where I desire to be hands off and am struggling with the proactive part of it because we've got great conflict resolution.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's just like, can we have less of this behavior? I desire that so strongly. It's just all day long. I feel like I'm letting them handle it, and then I'm coming in mediating, and I don't like it. I don't feel good about it at all when it's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Two questions for me. I hear you. A desire for overall less conflict or less need for you to
Absolutely.
interject your mediation. Yeah. Okay. So
Yes,
you mentioned
absolutely.
you're struggling with the proactive part, which I don't know what that means. So I'd love for you to elaborate. Second is you're saying, I don't like how it feels, your interjection of mediation. So let's start with, can you clarify? I'm not good at the proactive part.
So I don't know if I'm saying I'm not good. I just maybe kind of want to workshop on what I could do to be more intentional about cultivating more peace between the two of them.
Okay. Yeah. I think proactive for me means preventative measures or action steps.
Exactly.
Is that how you define it?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Are you able to articulate in a really tangible, practical way what preventative measures are you not implementing that you want to be? Do you have that articulation available?
No, I don't have that articulation available. I just feel like it's not something I'm intentional about. I'm not intentional about because I don't even know what that would look like intentionally.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm very reactive. It's once they're bothered by each other that I'm checking in because I'm not sure what to do.
Okay.
In advance.
Okay. So there's a longing to workshop what proactivity and prevention would even look like to get ahead of sibling conflict, like unnecessary conflict, if you were able to bring in the right systems or the right techniques at the head of the scenario.
Exactly that.
Yeah. Okay. So I wonder if the discomfort with having to interject with their rivalry, while there's a strong part of you that is longing for them to work it out independently and for you to not be needed in that
Mhm.
way, is the discomfort of your mediation because conflict is uncomfortable in general and it's loud and it's messy? Or is it connected to a voice in your head? Gosh, if I could have set this up better, we wouldn't have to be doing this.
Yeah, I think it's that. I think
Uh-huh.
it's that, but it's not even the voice that comes up when they're in conflict or when we're problem solving. It's the voice that comes up afterwards when I feel completely drained by the situation.
Okay, I
Yeah,
see. Okay.
I don't want to keep doing it.
Yeah, I hear you. You don't want to keep doing it. Yeah.
I'm old.
I'm
Over it.
old. Oh.
I'm over
So,
it, is what I said. I'm sorry.
oh, okay. I thought you said I'm old.
No.
Okay, so just reality checking us and orienting. Do you have a story in your mind that if I were to get the proactive preventative measures in place, then I would not have to interject and mediate conflict, and then I would not be exhausted and drained?
Maybe. I think I have that story often
Mhm.
about things anyway.
Yeah? What do
Could
you
have,
mean?
should have, could have, should
Uh,
have, would have.
yeah, like when, then, and then I'll be happy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I lovingly challenge this because we could workshop preventative tools. And I think that that's a really valid, worthwhile avenue for us to spend time in. I tell clients that conflict is 75 to 90% prevention. It's
Yeah.
all patterned and we can get ahead of it. And it's not going to completely erase your need, like
Hmm.
how they're dependent on you. So I'm wondering, like, that part of you that's like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm curious about that. If you could speak from that space.
Mm. That space is experiencing shame with the oldest and fear of the mean girl story
Yeah,
playing out.
right, right.
Also, protection for her because of where I identify with where it's coming from and being like that younger, the
Mm,
anger. And then the story is also coming from fear with the youngest of like, I just don't want anybody to take the spark that has been so intentional that I've
yeah,
created in changing how I parent. And I see how much she flourishes because of it. And so there's a part of me
mm,
that's like, you're undoing my work.
mm,
You're mean to your sister.
yeah,
Um, and then the last story of it is, yeah, but sometimes the 6-year-old is really intentionally picking, and the story projects into you can't treat people like that. Like she has feelings too. So there's just
yeah,
so many projections of and fear and all that gunk that I think about that I'm just like
yeah.
I'm over trying to manage that.
Yeah, so it sounds like it's not necessarily the conflict that you're over trying to manage because conflict is always and forever a part of a healthy relationship. We want
Right.
them to be able to facilitate it. They're learning. They're still very young, and so they're
Right.
immature in their capability to navigate with integrity and honor. And it sounds like what you're really over, and let me know if this is oversimplifying your experience, you're really over what's activated in you when you step in, which is the shame toward your daughter, the fear of that knowing where the anger is coming from, that projection of her being a mean girl. I imagine that's connected to some implicit memory, generational patterns there for you. And then the 6-year-old, you don't want her light to be squashed. You want to protect her. And then they're like, dude, you can't treat me like,
Right.
yeah. So it's complex.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, Rebecca, exactly that. That I am getting exhausted with emotion coaching myself.
Your own emotional storm. Yeah.
Yes. Yes,
Um,
exactly that.
So the desire to prevent conflict is for your children. Again, like this is a part of our responsibility in our job to set our kids up for as much success as possible, environmentally, relationally. Have they eaten? Can they be in the
Right.
same room together? Is it fair for me to walk out of the room knowing that they're both tired, hungry, overstimulated, whatever? And then there is the self protective desire to prevent conflict. So your system does not have to swirl around in that complicated emotional storm and then be drained by it. What's it like for you to sit in the more expansive awareness that, and this may not be brand new for you, Destiny. I know you're a pretty darn self aware lady, but knowing like, wow, I'm trying to prevent my daughter's conflict to protect me.
It feels like this single solitary tear that keeps coming out.
Oh, I didn't see the tear. Thank you for telling me. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that it's coming. It feels good. It feels like a really good awareness um, for me that I wasn't recognizing, but also glad that I'm catching it at this point and not trying to get ahead of their behaviors. But I feel like I'm looking at it differently for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, physically, there's a part of me that needed me too. So thanks, Rebecca.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I'm
Only on the
curious.
right side.
I know. I'm like, who's this tier? And feel free to say no to any of my invitations for reflection if you don't want to go into a deeper space. I'm wondering who's crying and why.
Mm, can you give me a second? I think probably 9-year-old Destiny is crying because she doesn't know how to navigate her own conflicts and doesn't feel safe to have them.
Yeah. Would you be willing to do an exercise with me?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. It's very gentle. In our work as parent coaches, we're helping our clients to be able to differentiate who is parenting in any given moment. Is 9-year-old Destiny parenting right now? Or is Mama Destiny who is confident and capable and able to show up? And I'm wondering if you could take a moment, this could be internal, or you can talk it through with me, of reminding 9-year-old Destiny that she doesn't have to do any work in those moments with your daughters. She can rest. Do you sense that she's able to receive that reassurance or redirection?
She received it, but didn't believe it. She
Yeah,
stood
not yet.
down.
That makes sense. Ideally, we would be spending a good 45 minutes going a lot more slowly into that technique. But it's something that you can be in self practice with after today and keep making contact with her if she's willing to receive you. And that can be as slow as it needs to be.
Well, she, I visualize myself in my room
Yeah.
having left a conflict with my sibling and having been reprimanded for the conflict. And
Yeah.
I was in that room with myself. And I think what I found really helpful about that exercise wasn't necessarily that she stood down, but that I got to hear her so very loud.
There you go. That's an enormously powerful part of the process where you're showing up and holding space for her, whatever that needs to come through that nobody was able to offer her at that age. Yeah.
I didn't know that was there.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was there. And I can see why this feels so heavy right after it happens.
Absolutely. Exhausting, draining. And of course, you're going to want to figure out how to make sure that doesn't happen so you don't have to go there and that doesn't have to be activated within you.
I guess I'm interested in the next time that this happens instead of like talking through myself, through the feelings with myself or just like having myself calm down. But I'm interested in what the conversation with that part might be like in that moment.
Yeah. Have you ever had an experience of being able to self-soothe an aspect of yourself that's being activated? Because it's not destiny right now necessarily. There's aspects that's like has the current day fears and projections and concerns. But if we see now that there's a root here, have you had the experience of self-soothing a part in the moment?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I definitely have. And so I think that being able to more clearly identify
that will help you
who is showing up. Yeah, who's showing up in that moment. Even if I don't right away get to the point where I'm able to soothe it, just being able to do what we just did, where I'm letting it have the floor. I mean, I was like pacing in my room in my head. And just going off and feeling, what's the word? Disempowered and like betrayed and how dare you.
Yeah. Let's make a leap here. So I wonder if Mama Destiny that leaves conflict with your daughters and goes and like collapses exhausted in her room actually is experiencing that betrayal and that like pacing in her bedroom. And if movement and releasing of mobilizing energy after sibling conflict is really what your body's needing, but without this clarity, you were collapsing into that dorsal vagal response. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. I can imagine myself doing that after.
Because the goal isn't to make her not feel what she's feeling. Soothing isn't not getting her to feel angry and overwhelmed or exhausted by what she just experienced, but rather it's giving her space to be able to follow whatever impulses she needs to follow to be able to process what just happened.
Exactly.
Yeah. What's it like for you to receive? I see there's emotion in your eyes.
I know that is me like processing.
Yeah.
It feels like relief. I feel like that part is like present right now and listening.
Yeah.
And it feels like finally I get to share that.
Yeah.
I think that anytime I have expressed any sibling frustration, it's always met with resistance.
Okay.
And so I think I've always been stuck in that, well, I'm just in my room sharing this.
Yeah.
And so I've never actually held space for it for myself.
Mhm.
So we've leaped from holding space for it for myself now, and I'm sharing it with another person at the same time. We're receiving.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah. It is a lot here.
It's a good lot. It's a good lot, but
It will need to percolate perhaps for a
it,
few days.
yeah, I think the word that I'm experiencing right now, though, is gratitude
Yeah.
for allowing me to see something that I didn't see before and allowing me to have a space to share the part of me that I don't know, maybe just has not felt even safe to share with myself.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. It's very touching to witness, and I'm very proud
Mm.
and thankful. You've worked really hard to build your system and your safety up enough for these more hidden aspects of your unconscious to spontaneously come through. So we can move forward with less of a, how do I get this to stop? And what are the techniques and strategies that I need to implement for these dynamics to not happen? And we're shifting more to, how do I hold myself in the moments when conflict inevitably arises? And how do I take care of myself after I show up and hold that mediation space for my daughters? Because they're showing you they're not quite ready to do that on their own yet, although you'd like that to happen. You're still dependent on. Yeah, would you like to take a minute and just focus on breathing, let go of language, and come home to the body? I'm curious if you could set an intention, not about doing anything necessarily, but it could be. What is your intention into your day or into your week or weekend with your daughters or with yourself or both?
I think an intention moving forward um, is to stay steady in how I show up during their conflict. And when the conflict is over, to just say what's up so that
Yeah. To check in. Yeah.
to check in. Even if
Yeah.
I don't necessarily feel activated, if there's conflict, I'm gonna check in.
That's so caring. Like, how was that for you? You okay? I know conflict is hard for you, girl.
It's literally
Yeah.
good. It's all,
You need anything? You need a snack? You need some chocolate? You need a hug?
some zoomies, probably.
Yeah. Hmm. Thank you, Destiny.